And hello everybody! Welcome to probably going to be a very controversial video for a lot of you, for those of you that don't know about what I'm going to be talking about and believe that it's this when it's really this other thing. Before we get into that, I'm your host, NikoTheLegend, also known as the well-mannered teenager, the snowflake, and the rambling idiot. And yes, what do I mean by controversial? Well, I'm going to let you guys know that I've gotten some comments on the videos that I've done, which nothing against those guys or anything. Of course, I won't say their names, but you know who you are, or just people out there that are just kind of, browsing through the internet and have come to this conclusion about the Mass Effect Legendary Edition on how it's a remake. Yes, a remake. Especially with Mass Effect 1, you guys are saying it's a remake. I'm here to tell you that it's not. Okay? This article you see in front of you or to the side or wherever, which side pretty much proves it, and then we'll have another big source as well at the end of this. So why am I doing this video? Well, like I said, there have been comments debating me or letting me know, like, hey, you're wrong. It's not word for word, right? But just summarizing. And, sorry if it makes it sound a little rash. Nothing against those guys, like I said. But it's saying, hey, this is not a remaster, this is a remake. And I think they're especially meaning that towards Mass Effect 1. And I'm sorry to tell you guys, well, actually not really, because this is something that was established when this thing was first announced, like Mass Effect Legendary Edition, back on N7 Day of last year, by Casey Hudson, who, we'll get to that quote, which I actually had to post the quote to somebody who said that I was wrong, not directly, but saying that it was a remake and not a remaster. So, not to ramble too long, I'm doing this video to let you guys know, for the ones that have this illusions of grandeur of Mass Effect Legendary Edition being a remake, or especially the first one, it doesn't matter. I'm here to educate you on why it is a remaster and not a remake. And I went to the prime source because Game Informer did a special interview with the people of BioWare about the Mass Effect Legendary Edition when this had the big trailer drop in the beginning of February and all that jazz. So this is a bit of on the longer side of the video, but this needs to get down to the nitty gritty. You guys need to know, you guys need to be aware as well, that when you buy this game, and I'm not trying to sound rude or anything, I just want you guys to be careful with your money and know what you're getting yourself into. This is not a remake. This is a remastered trilogy. And I bet you anything you think, a lot of you are probably thinking I'm really stupid. Like, Nico, why do you have to do a video like this? Like, we already know that. Trust me, not everybody knows that it's not a remake, that it's a remastered. Even though if you've done the research, you've done your homework, you didn't go with Illusions of Grandeur, you took the time to breathe, and then you understood, like, okay, yeah, I understand that this isn't a remake, And there's many reasons why, and this article dives into why it's not a remake. The trilogy, the Legendary Edition. This, like I said, I picked Game Informer because they were the ones that did it. So we'll talk a little bit afterwards. With the article has been discussed and stated, of course, from me, and just bear with me. Take your time listening to this, go back if you need to, or, so on and so forth, because this is going to be a lot of information, and I'm hoping this isn't a hard pill to swallow. Like I said, I just don't want you guys to have that illusion. I want it for everybody to be on the same page when it comes to this, because we don't want another Cyberpunk, okay? We don't want to overhype this too much, is what I'm trying to say, to where we rush the development, we want them to release it, they delay it, we get super mad, and then when they finally release it after a few delays, it turns into be a pile of crap, and it turns out it needed another year of development. It would have been a lot better. We don't want Cyberpunk, we don't want a No Man's Sky or a Sea of Thieves, or some people really hated Last of Us Part 2. We don't want stuff like that to really get overhyped and it turns out to be not that great. If you like those games, okay. But I'm saying the majority of us know that a lot of those games I mentioned were half-baked or not done, and they were overhyped. Anything overhyped is a bad thing. People, like I said, build those illusions. Even the Final Fantasy VII Remake was overhyped to all hell, and a lot of people were disappointed with it for many reasons well known. If you don't know, you can always look it up on Metacritic for sure. Anyway, I digress. I just want to get that across. Like I said, I'm not here to bash on anybody. I'm just here to explain and let you guys know what product you're going to be spending $60 on, because a lot of you are willing to do that. So I don't want you to be disappointed by the end of this road, this trip especially. Okay, why Mass Effect Legendary Edition is a remaster and not a remake? Like I said, it's from Game Informer. Sources and links will be in the description below. Here we go. There's been much excitement surrounding Mass Effect Legendary Edition, so much so we even put it on the cover of our most recent issue. BioWare's remaster of the famed Commander Shepard trilogy is coming out May 14th. Okay, BioWare's remaster. Okay, that's fact number one, that we know it's a remaster. And while fans have certainly pinned for this remaster, one question that keeps coming up: why not a remake? It's a valid question, especially since many series like Resident Evil and Final Fantasy have instead opted to remake beloved games to appeal more to modern audiences. And for the most part, they've done really well. However, BioWare didn't feel like that was the right approach for the trilogy at this point in time. Thanks, Anthem. In fact, making it a remaster in the true sense was one thing the team agreed upon early on, before they even really got going. Okay? BioWare started talking about finding a way to preserve Commander Shepard's short story shortly after it finished Mass Effect Andromeda. Every year, a small team investigated what it would take, figuring out logistics, and determining exactly what avenue would be best for it. The team always leaned more toward a remaster as they envisioned this undertaking. However, once they finally got everything greenlit, the team also wanted to approach it with what project director Mac Walters calls fresh thinking. This led them to ponder once again what it would take to create or remake or make large-scale changes, leading them down the path of considering upgrading engines. Here's a quote from him. "We didn't want to get stuck in the way we had thought about it originally," Walters explains. "And so we did open sort of the Pandora's box of, what if this is a remake? We actually sat down with a team from Epic and talked to them about Unreal 4 and said, what would it take if we were going to upgrade this and work on it? See, brand new engine for Unreal 4. Mass Effect Trilogy original is Unreal 3, and then the Legendary Edition is also Unreal 3 as well. What we quickly realized was that aside from the complexity, the cost, and all of those things, the trilogy really would have lost the essence of what it was." Walters used the example of Kismet, the Unreal 3's visual scripting language not being able to carry over as a deal breaker. There's no way to take that scripting and just automatically have it work in the Unreal 4 engine, so that means you're rescripting scenes, combats, the way levels work, the way our UIs work. All of that would have been redone. Inherently, it would lose just the essence of what Mass Effect was. I'm spelling it out. I'm spelling it out right now. Not to mention just the way it renders and everything else as well. And so ultimately we decided that Unreal 3 was probably going to be the best version of keeping it feeling like it was, what it was, but also provide an opportunity to uplift it as well. So that paragraph right there literally just lets you know, right off the bat, that it's not a remake, it's a remaster. Okay, we're going to continue here. I got to nail it on the head. I'm sorry, guys. Got to nail it. BioWare wanted to retain what made Shepard's story special, providing a nostalgic experience that wouldn't deviate from players' fond memories of the series. For a remake, I do feel like we would have found ourselves chasing our tails to find the magic, Walters says. If we had just said, we're leveling everything and we're just going to try to recreate that from scratch, you can't. It was about the people. It was about so much of the intangibles, not just the tech and everything else that brought that together. It was a beloved franchise, highly rated. I don't think you mess with that. After toying with different ways to approach bringing back the trilogy, it was a fairly quick consensus that a remaster was the way to go. It was important to have something that stayed true to what people fall in love with the series, and BioWare didn't want to make any big changes to the core content that might jeopardize it. This is a beloved franchise, Walters says. If you look at the way fans talk about Shepard, they say, my Shepard, right? It's very possessive about Shepard in a really good, really strong way. And of course, that doesn't just mean the character Shepard. That means that Shepard's story. It's all the choices that are made along the way. And so, very early on, we realized, look, if the choices and the plot points, if we're going to say that those are what everyone loves, holds on to, and wants to call it their own in the sense of their memory of this, a remake is off the table. We're not changing any of those things. I repeat, we're not changing any of those things. That really pushed us more in the direction of just a proper remaster where it's like, I love this game and I want to experience it all again, but I really love to play it on my current and future hardware, and I like to see it brought up to today's standards. I wonder how many people are just like ready to like throw rocks at me and torches and stuff. Character and environment director Kevin Meek, who has spent the last 5 years at BioWare working on games such as Anthem, came onto the project as a fan of the trilogy, and it was a difficult process of getting the balance right. It was like a Ship of Theseus type thing of how far can you change this before it's not the same as it was? Meek asks. In a remake, you start off with some line in the sand. Like this, it's not the same ship that it used to be, whereas in a remaster, it's the same tool set, the same level, the same characters, just polished up. That's where I get the nostalgia factor, and I would have definitely lost a lot of that if we'd gone the other way. I love proving a point. That's not to say the improvements for the remaster are just in the visuals. BioWare spent time taking into account fan feedback to refine as much as possible. This means improvements to the, okay, this is about Mass Effect 1, okay guys? This is what people get really tricked on because Mass Effect 1, a lot of them are thinking it's a remake. This means improvements to the Mako, faster load times in those pesky elevators, transforming barren levels into more striking locales, and having a unified control scheme and HUD throughout the trilogy. And that's only some of the additions and enhancements. However, it goes without saying, Mass Effect Legendary Edition isn't going to fundamentally change or redefine how you experience Shepard's story. And that's okay. As a longtime fan, Meek said it's best. For me, it's that sense of nostalgia. I still vividly remember the feeling. I still even get it sometimes now when opening the Presidium in Mass Effect 1 and Unreal 3 and flying around. Like that is the Presidium from Mass Effect 1 that I played and loved back in the day. If I remade that, even using the same assets largely in the same base, it's not the same Presidium. And there you go, folks. And there you go. This entire article states that this is not a remake. This is a remaster. Okay, so just soak that in, embrace it, understand. If it's a tough pill to swallow, that's okay. Now we know. For anybody who finds this video, now you know. And I appreciate anybody who stuck around with me to understand this, okay? I'll say it again. Mass Effect Legendary Edition is not a remake, it is a remaster. Don't let the new FemShep head models from Mass Effect 1, the better Mako controls, the different UI, don't let that fool you. It's still using the Unreal 3 engine. Nothing is built from the ground up. It's still the same engine. It's still the same game on a technical standpoint. It's just refined, touched up. It's going to play like Mass Effect 2 and 3. That doesn't make it a remake. If it was a remake, you'd be seeing stuff like Final Fantasy VII Remake style, where it's a completely different game. And it really is. Final Fantasy VII Remake is vastly different than the original. And just besides graphics, just gameplay and story alone, it's kind of a reimagining almost. It's kind of sad in a way. But besides the point, Resident Evil 2, the one that came out back in, 2019? Fantastic remake. I love that. The original is just as good too. From my standpoint, that's a full-on remake. It's a night and day difference. Now, like I said, just because Mass Effect 1 supposedly looks better because it's modernized doesn't make it the remake, okay? So anyway, I'll say it again. Same thing. Unreal 3 engine. All these games are getting touched up. They're getting more refined. Still the same core gameplay. Still the same story, same characters. No retconning, nothing. In fact, if this was a remake, then all the DLC would be there from the original games. Now remember, Mass Effect 1 doesn't have Pinnacle DLC, so there you go. If they had to put it in, again, they would have to remake the entire thing. And that would be too much work, and then they might as well just do a remake of the entire game. But the fact that it's not a remake, still Unreal 3 engine, Mass Effect 1 is staying as a remaster, just like Mass Effect 2 and 3. Now I hope this did the job. Like I said, I'm not here to bash any skulls in or whatever you want to call it. I'm just here to help you guys to make the best purchase possible. Because a lot of you are willing to fork over more than $60 from what I gathered from those comments from a very special video with many of you who know. But I'm just saying, you got to be careful when this stuff comes out. Don't let the hype get you. I'm not telling you how to spend your money. I'm just helping you out. There's nothing wrong with that. And I just want players to experience this with, not with rose-tinted glasses, pretty much. There are some people that aren't spending money because this doesn't look anything better, and there are people that are willing to spend the money because this does look better. It's mix and match, of course. But I just thought I owe it to you guys. So for those of you who stuck around this long, I highly appreciate your time and patience on this video. I know it's a little longer, but I wanted to do this. This was very important. And I owe it to the people who commented saying that this was a remake and not a remaster. Even if you were talking about Mass Effect 1 specifically, it doesn't matter. it's the trilogy as a whole pretty much. That's the package you're getting, and this is a remaster. I can't stress that enough. But thanks to you guys who have posted the stuff about the remake thing. This video has been made, and I wanted to just help everybody out. I think that's fair to say. Fair of me to say. So, I appreciate it. If you did like what you saw today, let me know what you guys think about this. Let me know, hey, if you were the guys that thought this was originally a remake, let me know, and that if you changed your mind, if this helped you at all, okay, or if you haven't changed your mind, you still are being stubborn or sticking to your guns. If you believe in something, believe it 100%, right? I'm totally okay with that. But it's always good to have the fog clear, the dust settle, the illusions of grandeur gone. So let me know what you guys think down below. And, I'm your host, NikoTheLegend. I hope you did enjoy Well-Mannered Teenager, The Snowflake, and The Rambling Idiot. And this was pretty fun. This was pretty fun. I enjoy doing stuff like this, of course. So, Pathfinders, I shall see you soon on the next milk run or hype train or bandwagon video of the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I appreciate it. Subscribe to Nico.